Welcome to another live session with Earthworks Hub. I'm Ivan Orlovic, your host for this evening, Sunday, the 11th of August, 2024. It's just on 8 o'clock, so I'm starting it off exactly on time today. Well, it's actually 7:59, so I'm about a minute early, but I'm starting on time. I want to thank everybody for coming on here, especially the people that regularly come on and listen. There's a couple of people here that I haven't seen before, a couple of new guys. We've got some great feedback already. People are saying that they've just started listening to the podcast and they're saying great stuff. So thank you to all those guys that have just started listening. Make sure you go back and listen to all the episodes. It will give you some good insight into what it's all about. But thank you again for joining me tonight on this Sunday evening. As usual, all these podcasts, or these live sessions, I record them and then post them up during the week. So if you do miss something or you didn't get a chance to hear something and you want to hear it back again, you can go and watch it anytime. So that's on YouTube video, YouTube podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and I think it's on another podcast channel that I haven't really heard of, but it goes up there. I don't know who they are, but if I figure out who it is, I'll let you know. Okay, I've had a few questions already. So what I might do is tonight, what I'm going to do is something different. I'm not going to have a guest on there tonight. So a couple of people just asked me if they can be joining me live. This week, I thought I'll just put it back to what I normally do, which is go through a topic, talk about my week, and then open up to you guys. So last 2 weeks, I had guests come on. So they were really, really good episodes. People love that. But I got a couple of points from listeners saying that they missed out on me answering their questions. So they were wondering if I could just go back to normal for at least 1 week. So I listened and I'm here to help you. So what I'll do, I'll go back to what I normally do this evening. So I'll go through my week, go through a topic, and then I can open up and answer questions. So, but it doesn't mean I won't have a guest next time. I think that's a big hit, and it gives everyone an opportunity to hear other people's journeys and share what they're doing. All right, so a big shout out to all my sponsors first. So that's Network Finance, the Bole Group, Melbourne Tractors, Spartan Machinery, Nexgen Landscapes, JR Safety Co. Diggerlid, and don't forget with Diggerlid, I have a discount code for everyone that's an Earthworks Hub member. So that is eWorks Hub. So if you go onto their website, go to my website, click on the link, and then it'll take you there. And then you can actually just type in eWorks Hub in the checkout, and you get a discount on certain items. I don't think it's on everything, but on certain items. Also, Digga and Godings. And don't forget, Godings have actually offered a $100 discount on the fuel cells. So they've got those 200-litre fuel cells that go on the back of your ute. They're $1,200 at the moment. But for Earthworks Hub members, if you go in there and tell them you're from Earthworks, you saw me or you're a member on the Earthworks Hub, you get $100 off. So it's only $1,100, which is pretty good. And then also, they're offering a beanie for anybody that walks in there and has a look at some of the machines and mentions that they're an Earthworks Hub member. So make sure if you go into any of the Godings stores, you mention you're an Earthworks Hub member, you'll get a free Kubota beanie. So make sure you take that up, guys. Okay, so thank you very much for joining again. This week, well, speaking of Godings, I might as well get straight into that. I did an interview with Godings. So Adrian, the owner of Godings, has sat down, had a bit of a chat with me. I posted that up. Very, very good interview. A lot of good feedback on that as well. And he gave us a bit of an insight on Kubota and why they don't go any bigger than an 8-tonner. So if you haven't heard that episode, go and listen to it. Then after the podcast, I went and actually had a chance to go and do a tour of their dealership in Rockbank. So if you haven't seen that video, you can also go and check that out. And that's when he announced the $100 discount for any Earthworks Hub members. Also, if you haven't known or noticed, I also posted that Earthmoving Warehouse is now a sponsor as well. So some big things to come there as well. Project updates, the website's been upgraded. I've mentioned that last week. Now you can go and find the tip site on there. So there's already a few tip sites listed now. So if you get stuck and you can't find a tip site for soil, rubbish, or anything like that, you can go and find a tip site on earthworkshub.com.au. You can see jobs on there, people looking for jobs and people looking for workers. And you can also see events. So Diesel Dirt and Turf is listed on there. If you have an event, or if you have a job that you're looking for someone, or if you're looking for a job, list yourself on there. Make sure you go on earthworkshub.com.au and list yourself. And you can also add your business on there so people can find your business as well. Other than that, I've really been away from my machine. I haven't actually sat in the machine for a few weeks. I've been painting. I've got more paint on myself than I did on the actual walls, but I've been painting and renovating, been working on Project Spalding, doing a whole bunch of stuff there. There's balustrade coming in this week. I've got plasterers finished doing stuff there, so painters are coming in, tilers. So there's a lot going on there. I haven't actually been in my machine for a few weeks. So I actually went there the other day to start it just to see if it works, and it had a flat battery. So I'm going to have to go and get a jump starter and give it a kickstart. I can see people sending me likes. Thank you very much for that. I can see that, but I haven't mentioned it. And that's it. Yeah. So basically that was my week. So like I promised, I'm going to spend today, instead of doing it with a guest, I'm going to spend time answering your questions as usual. So, and thank you for the likes. I can see all these love hearts coming up as well. If you have a topic you want me to talk about, let me know. Somebody asked some questions a little bit earlier on. Let me go back. Okay, so Mitch Jackson has asked, what's your favorite machine to operate? To this date, the best machine I've operated is a Case CX145. Despite them not being a sponsor or anything, I do actually appreciate that machine. I've said it in the past, and you've probably seen me using one a couple of times in my videos. I just like the smoothness of it as an overall machine. I find it's perfect. Like I said, it's a combination to me between a 5-tonner and maybe a 20-tonner. So like it's an in-betweener, so I can still fit in tight spaces, but I can also bulk out when I need to. And I find that the case is very smooth. There's no AdBlue to put in it. It's just an easy machine to operate, and sits well on the ground, doesn't rock around, doesn't throw you around. It can do what you want it to do. So to answer your question there, Mitch, I think the best machine overall for me would be the Case machine that I used, the CX145. So that's a 14-ton machine. Now, so Jovan is asking, what do you think about JCB machines? I don't know much about them. Well, I do, but I don't. I haven't actually used one. Mitch is saying thank you. That's fine, man. Yeah, I haven't actually used a JCB. I've heard some comments about them not being that good, but that's only what I'm hearing from other people. That's not my opinion. So I haven't actually sat in a JCB, so I can't really answer that. But from what I've heard is that they're not as good as some of the other machines. So I don't know. I can't. That's only what I'm hearing. All right, Clean Cut Mini Excavations is saying, damn, I just ordered a new Diggerlid yesterday. There you go. Maybe you can go back to them and tell them that you forgot to put my code in, see if they can help you out. Maybe the Diggerlid boys are on. I didn't notice their name here, but sometimes they join us. So yeah, try, man. Maybe give them a buzz, or actually email them and say, hey, I forgot to put the code in, and they might accept it. Let me just soothe the throat a bit. All right. Somebody here is asking, Melbourne ARC, are you making money from this? You know what? I'm not one to discuss money and stuff, but I'll tell you straight, I'm not making mega bucks, and I actually didn't know how far this was going to go when I started it. So, you know, like I didn't have like any expectation. So at the moment, yes, my sponsors are helping me out a little bit. So they're giving me some funds to put their names up and do some stuff for them, videos and that. But it's not mega bucks. It's not anything where I can say, you know what, I can stop working and just do this. But it might get there. I don't know. It might get there. If it gets bigger and I feel like it is, I feel like I'm doing a lot more and I'm getting a lot more sponsors and a lot more people inquiring and asking questions and listing their businesses and doing stuff. It might get there, but at this stage, it's not giving me enough where I can say, hey, you know what, I don't have to go and dig anymore. I still have to keep that cash flow going and sit in my machine and do stuff. So just to honestly answer you there, it's not making mega bucks. In fact, it's not making that much, but I'm doing it more so just to help you guys, to help everyone in our community. So that's why I'm coming up with all these tip site search functions and trying to make it easier because I'm trying to fix the problems that I have. So, for instance, how many times do you do a job and you're like, shit, man, I can't find a tip site. Where do I go? And you got to try and call people or look on Google quickly. Whereas this way, if you go to Earthworks Hub, it'll be on there. Go into tip site, put in the state that you're in, and it'll give you a whole list. So just for instance, that sort of stuff. I'm trying to just make it easy for everyone. And then if the money comes, it comes, man. I'll be happy. Nexgen Civil. Here we go. Nexgen Civil is asking, what's your favorite brand of excavator? My favorite brand. That is a good question. I don't have one favorite brand. I can tell you why. For example, I used to run a combo. Yeah, so until recently, I had a combo where I had my 5-tonner, which is a Kubota. Then I had my PosiTrack, which is a Cat, and then I had my tipper, which was a Fuso. So, for me, I found the Cat was really, really good as a PosiTrack overall. Whereas as a 5-tonner, I love the Kubota. The U55 was good, fit in the tipper really well. I could put it in the tipper or on the trailer, and it was a good combo. So I can't really say I love one brand only, but out of all the brands, I've got like one favorite of each. So like I said, like in the 5-tonner, I can say the Kubota. In a 14, I can say a Case. In the PosiTracks, I can say a Cat. But there's probably other ones that I haven't used, and I don't really know if they're any better. But out of all the ones that I've used, they're the ones that I like in those sizes. Then in like the 20-ton machines, I like the Kobelco. So it depends. But then again, I haven't really sat in that many different machines to be able to say, which ones are better. But yeah, I like different brands in different sizes. If that helps, hopefully that answers your question. We've got On Grade on here. Mitch Jackson. So he's saying, do you ever get bored of Earthworks and not like being in a cab all day? Honestly, yes, I do. I do get bored of it sometimes, which is what prompted me to start looking at doing other things. So, one, I was lucky when I had a lot of workers. I wasn't constantly in the machines, so that sort of helped a little bit because I wasn't in there every single day. And then also, what I did to break things up is I went into multiple machines. So by having different sizes, I could be in my 14-tonner one day, then I could be in the PosiTrack another day. I could be in my tipper all day for one day. And that helped a lot because I feel like if I was just in one machine all the time, I reckon I'd go crazy. And I know that because sometimes, like if I've lost an operator, just say like my 14-tonner, I'd go and sit on there and go, this is not bad. I could just sit here and do this. What am I running around for when I can just sit in my machine? After 2 days of sitting in that 14-tonner all day, I start to go crazy. I start itching. I've got to get out. I've got to go do something different. I can't sit here. And the same goes for my tipper, for instance. Sometimes I sit in there and I drive the tipper for a day and I'm like, oh, this is so much easier than operating. I don't have to stress about every, not hitting assets and stuff. But then after a day in that, I'm like, oh man, get me out of here. I need to do something different. So I do get sick of it sometimes. And sometimes I get sick of the things that happen on sites, like dealing with certain foremen and supervisors. And then, sometimes you get all this pressure. And then sometimes I get sick of like looking for workers. Then I get sick of some laborers that are working with me, or, there's always something. So I can't say I get bored of it, but I've realized I can't be in one machine for too long or one piece of equipment. So that's my opinion on that question. It's a good question though, because some people look at us in machines and go, oh, I'd love to be that guy because he just gets to sit all day. Where'd this mozzie come from? I've got a mozzie flying around. Sometimes people look at us and they get the wrong idea. They think, oh, being in the machine, in the cabin all day, aircon, you just sit there and don't have to stress. We're out here killing ourselves. But it's not all it's cracked up to be. When you're in that seat, your mind is going 100 miles an hour. You're looking at where you're digging, who's around, you're looking at a million things going on, trying to dig without breaking stuff, looking for instructions. The UHF is going off, like just a million things going on. And I think, yeah, just I don't know, like it's not as easy as it looks, but also, yeah, after you've been in there for so long, it can get a bit boring. So it depends. And if you're doing different stuff all the time, that's another thing. If you're just sitting there on the rock pile sorting rocks all day, then yeah, you get sick of it quick. So True Blue Excavations. Hey mate, best advice for people only just starting their business. I have a couple of episodes that you could listen to where we specifically talk about this. But in a nutshell, I'll tell you again, best advice for people starting the business is, one, make sure you have a buffer account, have some spare money, because you're not going to be working every day. So, and I'm talking about starting a business as an owner operator, for instance, yeah? So if you buy yourself a machine, don't think that you're going to be working every single day. You're going to have a lot of rain days. You're going to have days where they've got RDOs on site, public holidays. You're going to have days where there's breakdowns and you're not earning money. You're going to have days where they say, we don't need you anymore at 3:30 on a Friday. And then you're trying to find work for the next few days. And if you don't have work for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's it. You're not making any income. So you need to have some money there to cover yourself for those days. So one is to have yourself a buffer, and also for breakdowns. You need to have some spare money in case you have a breakdown, because you want to get that machine up and running. And earth moving equipment is not cheap, man. Buying and fixing things is not cheap. It's thousands. I remember when I got into the industry, I used to think a $300 car service was expensive. My first machine repair was about 10 grand on my 20-tonner. Something happened. I think the cylinder seal went. Something else went. My swing motor, something went with that. It was like over 10 grand, my first one. I had a shock. I could not believe. And it made my little $300 car services look insignificant after that. So that's some advice there. Money, you need to give yourself a good buffer, because you're not going to be working all the time, and expenses are very, very costly, man. And UDA Frank is saying he gets more tired digging all day than laying pipe. Exactly right, man. Like, a lot of people think that we get to sit in there and it's easy, but you're actually mentally working. You're constantly looking around you and trying to, not hit stuff. So yeah, True Blue saying thank you, cheers. And Sydney Rockwell saying, yeah, we all get bored at some stage. Yeah, it's true. And like I said, if you're doing the same thing over and over, it can get repetitive. And that's what prompted me to buy a 14-tonner. So when I had my 220s, they were constantly just sorting rocks, loading material out, sorting rocks, loading material. That's all they were doing a lot of. And I remember my operators came to me and said, look, we're sick of doing the same thing, we want to do something different. And that's what prompted me to get my 14, because then we could do some different stuff. Then we could do electrical trenches. You could still load trucks if you needed to. You could still do road crossings, and you could do a whole bunch of things with that. So that's why I ended up getting the 14-tonner instead, and got rid of the 20. So Garefa Earthworks, I hope I'm saying that right. Best or favorite posi attachment? Ooh, the best attachment. So if we're talking about basic attachments, I think a smudge bar is by far the biggest thing that you need with the posi track. Any posi track needs to have a smudgy, I reckon you need, or a leveling bar, whatever people want to call them here. But without a smudge bar, I reckon you can't survive. You can. People are going to probably say to me, no, you can. But the smudge bar makes your life a lot easier. And you can use it for multiple things. Like, I had a guy once tell me I was a shit operator because I was using it to level out road base. And I don't know if you guys saw that video once, but he said, oh, you can always tell a shit operator when he's using a leveling bar on road base. But other guys defended me and said, no, you can. There's nothing wrong with using one. I know what he means. Like, it does bring up all the rocks to the surface. That's if you go over it too many times. But yeah, they do come in handy. So I would say, as a bare minimum, I would say my favorite or best posi attachment is the leveling bar or the smudge bar. But if I had to look at another one, I don't know. You know what I always wanted to look at? like a grader blade attachment. I reckon they'd be really good to have on there. I haven't used one, but I've seen a lot of guys with them. I reckon that'd be awesome to have and awesome to use. But I know that I don't know if there's limited work for it. So that would be my next favorite attachment. The other thing I did like using is a slasher. So Garefa, if you're still listening, I had a slasher attachment. I rented one a couple of times, and it worked really well. So the slasher was good. It was good, and it gave me a bit of extra income. So when I didn't have that much going on, I'd go and do fire breaks on properties and use the slasher to do it. So yeah, another good money making attachment. All right. Now, we've got some people saying hello. Hey, Jimmy, the plumbing company. Ben Turner is asking how much are 5 tonners getting paid hourly in Victoria? It's a good question. It depends who you work for. So if you're working for yourself, and I know I'm going to probably get a million comments here, but you need to be getting above $100 an hour if you're working for yourself. So you need to be getting at least 115 to 135 an hour. I've heard of guys, like asking for like 150. And it depends. If you're really good and your customers know you and they're really happy to pay you that much, you can probably get 150. But you're probably looking at 120 to 125, 130, something like that. Just with buckets. And then if you've got a hammer, then you obviously charge, depends on the day rate. It could be anywhere from 250 to $300 a day for the hammer or auger. So that's my opinion. I'm happy for you guys to also comment if anyone agrees or disagrees with that. But I would say that's an average. If you're working for plant hire companies, they probably ain't going to pay you. They're only going to give you probably like $90 an hour. If not even less, maybe 85 to 90, maybe 95. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, but that's what they were paying not so long ago, actually. So there you go. What else? And yeah, Jim saying depends on your skill level. Very, very true. And Ben saying, yeah, pretty much the same in Sydney. Yeah. So yeah, Melbourne would probably on par. And also it depends on how good you are, but yeah, somewhere between 110 to 125, somewhere like that. For a 5 with just buckets. But if you've got a tilt hitch and stuff like that, you can also argue a bit more. And also depending on your skills. What else do we get here? Some other questions. We've answered that one. Gareth is saying a thumbs up for answering his question. It's good. We're getting a lot of questions here. I'm happy to help. So whatever you guys want to ask away. So RC187 is asking, what's the average for a tandem in Melbourne? Tandems were getting, and Sydney Rockwell saying that was similar rates in Queensland. RC was asking, what are the average for tandems in Melbourne? The tandems were getting like 125 an hour at one stage when rates were getting questioned, and they all got their rates boosted to 125. I know they've come down a little bit now to like 110, even 100, some of them. And then if you're working for an agency, obviously it's less again. So it could be 80, $90. Maybe 100 if you're some agencies. So yes, a tandem's like a bogey. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically answering your question, RC. Your one is asking, when do you think Earthworks will kick back up again? It's funny you say that. That's a good question. Because recently, I don't know if it's just me, but I started getting phone calls again lately. There was a patch where I had no phone calls. They went really quiet. And yeah, just recently I started getting people asking me to quote some site carts. I got some agency messages. I got some mates asking me if I've got a machine free. Somebody asked me the other day if I've got a machine to dry hire. So I don't know, maybe it's picking up slowly now. I don't know. But a couple of other guys as well. I couldn't do a job last week and I rang around and everyone was busy. So I don't know, it might be picking up slowly. But I didn't expect it to pick up till at least maybe next year. I was thinking we're going to be in for a really quiet season all the way through to Christmas and possibly more. But at the moment it might be just a little sudden burst, but a couple of guys I speak to are saying that yeah, suddenly it's sort of picked up a little bit. Even actually, I had someone ring me the other day to try and do a little a cleanup for a retaining wall job, and I said to him, I haven't got my posi track in that anymore, but he was looking for someone. So and then yeah, like I said, I rang a couple of guys also busy. So Ben Turner is saying economy is stuffed at the moment. Yeah, very true. And then Jim is saying not very many subdivisions opening anymore. Yeah, exactly right, Jim. So like I was saying in the last few episodes, because the interest rates are so high, people are reluctant to build. All the building costs have gone up. So, developers aren't selling blocks. Hence, if they're not selling blocks, then there's less subdivisions coming up, which is why civil companies have been getting rid of huge numbers of subbies. So, yeah, there's a lot of subdivisions that I've seen acquire. However, down the road, I saw at least, I reckon there's at least 15 large machines, like 20 ton and above, working in a subdivision up the road. So, I don't know, maybe it is starting to pick up a little bit. I don't know. Winslow are quite quiet as well. So on grade, you're saying Winslow are quiet. So yeah, I know a lot of these subdivision companies or civil companies have actually got rid of a lot of subbies. So I reckon until rates start coming down, which is good to see that they held off. So they've held the rates at the same level this week. So that's a good sign. And there's talk about rates maybe being held for till the end of the year, maybe. And then after that, they're predicting that rates are going to start coming down. Even there's a chance that they might come down at the end of this year. If that's the case, it might increase confidence in people again, and people might start buying and building again. But it is quiet. And I know even with like my project Spalding, to get tradies, it used to be really, really hard. Now it's not so hard. I can call tradies in the last minute and say, hey, I need you, and they'll come. Whereas, given if this was a year or two ago, I would not be able to get tradies for ages. Everybody would be booked out. So JPG Excavations has a question. What's your opinion on getting your machine on these major projects like North East Link? Have you worked on them, and how would you go about it? My opinion is, I don't know. I've got a mixed opinion on these major projects. So one, I feel like once you get your machine in there, you get it inducted, you get yourself in there, I feel like you can sort of get yourself funneled in, and then you sort of get stuck. And then like if you want to take your machine out to do other work, it's very, very difficult, because then you got to take it out, get it reinducted if you want to come back. Getting in and out of there is not very easy. So a lot of times you got to book your machine to come in and get a float coming in, because it's not very easy. So I feel like once you go in there, it can be a little bit hard. And then they're also selective about your operators. So I hear that, especially if they're unionized, they're very selective about who goes in there. And it's a lot about who you know, not what you know. So these are things I'm hearing, because I haven't actually gone and worked on there. So I'm just sort of giving what I'm hearing here. Is that, yeah, it's very difficult to get in there unless you know somebody in these projects. And then also, once you are in there, I feel like then you've got RDOs, shutdowns, all these things, all these days where you're not working and making money, and you can't take your machine out to go and do other stuff. So that means you're going to be missing out on income on those days. So that is one maybe disadvantage of going on those big major projects. However, I don't know, the pay rates, if they're any better, I hear that they're not any better than, subdivisions and other civil companies. It's hard to say, yeah, but I haven't worked on them. I'll lie. I have been on there for like a day or two, just to fill in for someone, but I've just sat like on their machine and gone in, been inducted, come back out. So I haven't actually put my machines in there. I think I did one, which was not a major project, but I was on like a huge road project, and that was a pain, man, because they wanted me to leave my truck on site, but only pay me for my machine. So I had my posi track on the job. We were doing like a big road widening. They wanted me to leave my truck on site so that every morning they could allocate where they want my machine. I would have to go drive to my truck, start it up, go pick up the machine from wherever I left it from the day before. So somewhere along this major highway, I'd pick up the machine, float it down, I don't know, 2 kilometers down the road to where they want me to work for that day. Leave the truck there, take the machine back at the end of the day, or take the truck back to the yard at the end of the day, which they had a little yard for us. But they would only pay me for the machine, and they wouldn't pay me float costs. And so basically, they were using my truck as a float or a transportation or as a combo, but only paying me for one machine. So my truck had to sit there all the time. So I couldn't even get a driver to use my tipper during the day. I had to just stay on their site. So I got out of there. It was a bit of a shamble. And then also when I used to work, they'd tell me, give me instructions, and then they'd leave and I'd do what they want. Then they come back and there's different supervisors will say, no, you shouldn't have been here. You should have been working over there. So there was like too many different supervisors with different agendas and different instructions. It was just very, very difficult. And then I tried out a couple of operators while I was there, and they kept rejecting them. They're like, no, we don't want this guy. You got to come back. And then they'd send another guy. No, he's no good now. You got to get a different guy. So it was just very, very difficult for me because if they didn't get along with my new worker, they'd just tell me, you got to get rid of him or your machine's going. So they called the shots all the time. It was very, very hard. So hopefully I didn't go in too deep there, but that is my opinion for JPG's question. But not to say I've heard other people love those jobs. So other guys go in and they just stay on these jobs long term. They reckon they're a bit safer, and the machines stay on for longer. And if you're happy with that, then maybe it's all right. And if you get it, you might end up with a good supervisor or a good crew that you're working with, and then you might be okay. But that's my opinion anyway. Good scotch, that one. All right. Jim saying well said. Thank you for that. On grade 135 is asking, Carey Civil, any good as a whole? Carey Civil, I see them on all these major projects. I do see them around, and they've been around for a while. So there must be a reason. So they must be good if they're still hanging in there. I don't personally know them, but from looking at these job sites, they're constantly on those bigger sort of projects, road widenings, all that sort of stuff, infrastructure. So there must be a reason. They must be either they're in bed with someone there and they've got some good contacts, or they're a good company and they've got good workers. But I personally haven't actually dealt with them, and I can't really answer how they are as a company. But they must be doing something right because they're always around. And they've always got nice new machines as well, I've noticed. So there must be a reason that they're still around. JPG saying thank you. All right. What else is there? Any other questions, people? Let's keep going. This is good. We've got a whole range of questions here. So I had a topic for this evening. I can, while everyone's thinking of their questions, I can talk about that topic if you like. So this topic is a topic I was inspired by a guy called Mulder. So I don't know if you guys ever listen to him on Spotify, but the Mulder Life podcast, it's by Andy Mulder. I think he's in the States, and he actually talks the same as I do. He comes up live and talks about his landscaping business, and he talks about machinery and workers and all the same similar sort of things. So I do listen to him a bit, and he inspired me because the other day he had a new episode come out, and somebody asked him, how important is it that you get support from your spouse or your partner, and how significant is it? And that's for business owners. So if you're a business owner, Sydney Rockwell saying, yeah, awesome landscaper in the USA. Yeah, there you go. So other people do listen to him. Yeah, I think he's really good to listen to, and he gives good advice as well. And somebody asked him, how important is it that your significant other is supportive of you when you're a business owner, especially for us small business owners and owner operators. And he was talking about how his partner is his biggest supporter and biggest fan, and she's been there from day one and always has been his soundboard and all these things he was saying. And I was thinking, that is exactly how I am. That's exactly how my wife is. And look, if you're single, you can relate this to maybe having a close friend or a family member that can be your soundboard. And I think it's very important to have somebody that's supporting you in the background. So especially when you're starting a business. So like my wife, when I first started, she was my biggest supporter. I was about to leave. I was about to leave this job where I had a set salary, good money. I was a manager, and like I was not comfortable, but I could have been. If I wanted to, I could have just sat back and had a good wage. But I always had this urge to start a business, yeah, and start, especially in landscape, in earth moving and stuff. And she was my biggest supporter. She was like, "Don't worry, you'll do good. You're business minded. You know what you're doing. You don't, you don't do, you don't just take risks. You know, you've done a calculated assessment. You're going to do well." So she's always been my supporter, and she helps me with big decisions as well. So, when I'm buying machines, she may not be involved directly in the business. So she's not actually, doing, operating machines. She's not doing the books. She's not doing any of that. So she's not formally in the business, but she knows about all my decision making and all my decisions. So especially if I've got big decisions to make, even when I'm buying machines, she might not know like which brand is good, which brand is no good, and what different sizes machines are. But I just give her like a couple of reasons or a couple of examples of why I like this machine or that machine, and she'll help me make a decision. And I think just having her there as a soundboard is important. Someone that I can bounce my ideas off, and she'll sit back and think about it differently to me because she's not in the business every day. She's looking at it from an outsider's view. And then she'll give me honest opinions and say, like, do you really need that machine? Or does it really matter if it's this brand or that brand? Or, how often you're going to use it? She'll ask me questions that I don't ask myself. So I think it's very, very important that your partner or your spouse or your friend or family member is supporting you. You've got someone there. Especially if you don't have a business partner, then you really are relying on your spouse or partner to be your support. And I remember at the start, I told her, we're going to have to take out a big chunk of money to buy some machines, and I'm going to not be working for a while, and it's going to take a while for my first money to come in. And she was like, yep, all for it. Go. I trust you. You're not going to put us in the shit. Just do it. And that really helped. It helped me going, as opposed to someone being negative and saying, nah, you shouldn't do it. Nah. Then, that doesn't really help. And that's for, like I said, even employees, any projects, like I'll bounce off her and say, oh, I had a really tough day today, or I'm having troubles with this worker, what should I do? Or I'm thinking about hiring someone, and then she'll ask me questions like, do you really need them? Like, where are you going to put them? Just questions like that. Sometimes it opens up a conversation, and then you work stuff out. And we do a lot of that while we're walking. So we'll go do like walks around the area, or walk around while the kids are playing sports, and we do a lot of talking. And it's my time where I can actually open up and ask questions, or tell her if I've had a bad day, or we're going through some tough times at work. I'll open up, and she's like a therapist, I can say, which is really, really handy to have. So they do play a significant role in a business. So even if they're not directly involved. But yeah, this guy, Andy Mulder, if you're ever listening to Spotify and you're looking for another podcast, apart from my podcast, if you're looking for another podcast, listen to this guy. He's pretty good. And that was his last episode, actually. So it'll be, if you click on him, you'll see that episode there. In between that, some people have asked questions. Have I ever done demolition? I have done some demolition. I don't have a demo license, so I had to do a demo while I was working for somebody else. Under their license, I suppose. It was good. It was good fun. We actually demolished a house, a single-story brick house. We had to get the asbestos guys in to come and take all the asbestos. Take all the asbestos sheets out, and then we did all the rest. It was good fun. Our demo was good, and then in between, after that, we did some. What did we do? Oh yeah, we did some garages. So without a demo license, you can do like up to a certain amount of area. So you can do like a garage or a shed, or I think like the rear part of a house, but you can't demo an entire house. So I've done a few demo things, like demoed a pool. I actually backfilled a couple of pools. So we demolished it, ripped all the concrete pool out, and then infilled it all. So yeah, I have done a bit of demo. Casabean is a big company too. Yeah, Casabean's huge. They've been a bit quiet lately. I haven't really seen much. I know Marty used to post a lot of stuff on Instagram, and now he's been very, very quiet lately. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Casabean's a massive company. And I also noticed I haven't seen that many of their machines floating around. Like I used to see them on the road all the time. I noticed they got posse tracks and stuff as well, so they were doing a whole range of stuff. But yeah, they've gone a little bit quiet too. I don't know what's going on. On grade 135, do you have any formal qualifications like tertiary? I do actually. I do. Before I started my Earthworks business, I actually originally have a business management degree. So straight after high school, I went to uni, did a degree in business management. I actually started off doing a double degree. I did what was I doing back then? Business management and professional writing. So I was looking at being like a journalist as well. And then I deferred for a year and went and started working and doing other odd jobs. Like I did a bit of panel beating. I worked at like a car. We used to install like accessories. So it was like an accessory company. So we used to install like bull bars, tow bars, UHF radios, all that stuff. Then I decided to go back to uni myself, went back, and then I finished just a business management degree. Yeah, business management degree. And then I went and became a manager for a manufacturing plant. So I was doing that for maybe 11 years before I moved into Earthworks. So if you listen to one of my episodes, I think it's like the second or third one, I actually talk about how I started. And yeah, like a formal qualification, I think helped me in some way with the business. Because I did business management, we learnt all the accounting, we learnt about HR, like human resources, how to handle employees, all that sort of stuff. And then I think because I worked as a manager in a place for so long, when it came time to hiring employees and paying them payroll and all this sort of stuff, I had a fair idea already of like how to work with that. So that did definitely help. But if you ask me if you need a formal qualification to start your Earthworks business, you probably don't. You can just work out a lot of things as you go. And nowadays, there's so many things on Google. There's so many little self-help or small business assistance programs and all that sort of stuff you can find on the internet. So you don't even probably need a proper qualification. Barry, you got beautiful lips, my baby boy. Thank you, Barry. Is that better? Beautiful lips. Thank you, Barry. There's some people on here, I'll tell you. UDA Frank is saying, I'm in the gas industry and in the last 6 months, work has dropped approximately 35 to 40%. Things aren't looking too good in the building game. There you go. So that's in the gas industry. So yeah, definitely. So UDA Frank, thank you for that information. It has definitely quietened down in all fields. Yeah, in all industries. So I think we're not the only ones, but there's a lot of places that are gone quiet. A lot. Sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the back. There must be something going on there. Yeah, no, it's not looking too good overall. However, there were some guys on here in the last few weeks where they were saying that in Adelaide they're still going off. In Brisbane they were saying it was still going pretty good. However, I do know that in Brisbane, after talking to a couple of people, they're saying it's also starting to quieten off a bit. So it's not as busy as it was. So yeah. That is the information I have. Okay, let me just see if there's any other questions. Nothing else for now. So that was my topic. Yeah, what do you guys think about the topic before? Any comments on that as well? Does anybody have anything they want to add about their spouses or their other significant others being supportive? Yeah, so demolition, I actually don't mind doing demo. Demo wasn't bad. The only thing that I found with demo is, yeah, we had to do a lot of physical work at the start because we wanted to try and sell the windows off because they were like old timber windows. Then we wanted to sell the doors. We wanted to keep some of the hardwood separate, keep all the copper. That was a pain because the guy I was working for really wanted to keep everything and make money on every aspect. Whereas another guy I did it for, we just hired a huge bin and just loaded everything straight into the bins. It was just so much easier. But yeah, the other guy wanted to make money on every side, so that was a bit of a pain. Craig Drury, hopefully that's Drury, is in Brisbane saying, yeah, Brisbane's getting a bit quieter. Yeah, so I've heard the same thing. KCU, that's a hard one to read. Did you do a Cert 3 in civil? No, I haven't done the Cert 3. So back when I started, we had, it was actually a lot easier. We had a guy that he came out on site and he'd do an on site, like I suppose, on site VOC, or verification of competency, if that's what you want to call it. And he'd come out on site. He'd say to you, you know, jump in that machine, take the bucket off, put the bucket back on, go over there, dig for me. So you'd start digging in front of him, show him what you can do. He'd say, you know, give me a bit of a rundown on the machine, and then that's it. He'd ask you a couple of questions. Where do you check the oil? Where do you do this? And that's it. That was it. That's how easy it was back then. Now obviously it's a little bit different, but it might be a good thing. I think I did a video where I went to on site in where are they, in Hallam? So if you go back to one of my videos, you'll see. I think it's called a free certificate 3, whatever it is. There's a video I made. If you go back to my YouTube, you'll see a video where I went in and actually had a look at how the certificate 3 works, and they actually took me through the whole site. We went into a classroom, then I went out to when they were doing the practical work. So yeah, definitely go back and have a look at that. I think it's there's 2 videos. There's one where I talk about how you get your free tickets, and I think there's one where we actually go through the school. So yeah, definitely go back and have a look at my YouTube videos. So UDA Frank, I worked 6 days a week last year. The last 2 weeks I've had full weekends. Hang on. I worked 6 days a week last year. Last 2 weeks I've had full weekends without a good missus. They will break you. She backs everything I do. Always supportive. There you go. So that's in response to my topic. Thank you for your input there, UDA Frank. You do, yeah, especially if you're working 6-7 days a week. You definitely need a good partner, because they need to be understanding that you're going to be out working on your machines, other than just, you know, operating all week. Then when you do, and I'll talk about machines, could be trucks or graders or any equipment. But yeah, when you finish your week, it doesn't actually just finish. Then you've got Saturdays and Sundays where you need to do repairs, maintenance, or you might be working on Saturday, then on Sunday you got to go and do some repairs and maintenance and upkeeping. So yeah, you got to have a really understanding partner when you have one of our businesses. So very, very good feedback there from UDA Frank. That GPS guy, how you going? UDA Frank, I work the Saturdays to make up for the bad weeks and to have extra money in the float. Exactly right, man. That's what I was talking about before. I called it like a buffer, but a float is probably the proper word for it. So you need to keep yourself a bit of a float for the days where you're not working. And yeah, hence what UDA Frank's saying is a lot of us take on Saturdays just to make sure that if you have a few days off during the week, you've made up for it already. So yes, very, very true. Cooper's joined us. How you going? Vic Webster, how you going? Night, mate, bedtime. Yeah, it is bedtime. We've still got a few more minutes on here, and then I'll be hitting the sack too, trust me. But good for you. Thanks for joining us on here, Vic. How's your posi track going? Is it still busy with you, or can you give any feedback on the workload at the moment? While Vic is typing, maybe he's already left us, I'm not sure. Any other questions? Guys, don't forget you can buy merch as well online. So if you go to earthworkshub.com.au, click on shop in the top right corner, it'll take you to the merch store, and you can buy t-shirts, hoodies. There will be hats coming up soon. I'm just waiting to get some embroidery stuff done. And then you'll be able to buy hats as well and beanies. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. But also, yeah, do go on there and have a look for the merch. If you want to support Earthworks Hub, you can wear one of these and represent. Also, do not forget to... Vic's saying it's all good, mate. Beautiful. That means he's still got work. There you go. So Maybe it's not that quiet. Make sure you do go onto the website and list your business on there. So if you want to advertise your business, go to earthworkshub.com.au, go on, put it into as or add listing under the contractors and trades and sales. So you don't have to be just a machine or a machine operator or machine business. Oh, hang on a minute. We've got some questions here. Sorry, I've got 2 or 3 at once. Yeah, you can make sure you list your business on there so people can find you. Let's go here. Think About It's joined us. What's going on? Yeah, another night, another live session. Think about it. Elton Mirror Co. is saying, where are you from? Victoria, Melbourne in Victoria. So down in the south. It's actually, the days have been really, really good. They reckon this week's going to be really nice. So if you can get some work done this week, do it before the bad weather comes. But they reckon it's going to be a sunny week. So a good time to get as much work as you can done before we get some rain. And don't forget to also go to my YouTube channel. You'll see a whole bunch of videos on there. All these episodes are on there. Go on there and subscribe. So make sure that you don't just go on and watch stuff. Actually subscribe as well. By you subscribing, it helps me as well. Elton Miro is saying, oh good, I'm Iran. Okay. Are you in Iran or I am in Iran? Wow. There you go. We've got people from the other side of the world. There you go. Thanks for joining us. Oh, here we go. Craig Yuri is saying, I pick up more work because I run a triple combo. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, Craig. I think having a combo gives you more options, which is why that was my last thing that I did. I had a combo. Well, when you say triple, to me, I had a Posi-Track tipper and the 5-tonner, and I found that was a really, really good combo because I could do everything, all types of work. So anything from demo to, retaining walls to site cleans, site cuts, doing, slabs, plumbing, anything, because you can move material, you can bring it to the front with your Posi, you can load it with the 5. You can dig with your 5 if you need to. You can take material away. If one's not working, the other one's working. So I found like the combo worked really well. I just found, the only thing I did find with the combo is a lot of times people don't want to pay what they're supposed to pay for it. So like you turn up with your combo and they only need the 5-tonner for the day, just for instance. And then they say, oh, you got a tipper here. Oh, can you take some material away? And then you say, yeah, oh yeah, I can. And then you say to them, but it's going to be a combo rate. And they're like, oh no, but you're not in both machines at once. You're just in one machine, then you're jumping in the truck. So why are you charging me a combo? They don't understand that you're bringing 2 or 3 things at once when they could be out working separately. So that you got to charge a combo. But yeah, a lot of times I found that when I used to turn up, they'd be like, oh, you got your Posi-Track on there. Can you just run a few loads and run a few things for us? Or spread this out with the Posi, and I'm like, yeah, but that's going to be extra. And then they're like, oh, but it's just sitting there anyway. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's a combo. As soon as you start wanting 2 or 3 things, it's a combo then. And yeah, I'd have that bit of an argument with them. So I don't know if you have the same thing, Craig. So Craig says he runs a micro combo and also now a Cat 302 that he just brought in the last month. There you go. Well done, man. Good on you. Yeah, combos are very, very handy. Vic's saying, I know exactly what you're talking about. There you go, yeah. Yeah, people often, or customers I should say, they don't realise that you turn up with a Posi, a 5 and a tipper, and that's nearly 500 grand combined with a trailer, just say for instance. And then they say to you, like, you tell them it's 100 and something bucks an hour, and they're like, oh, no way. And you start to just tell them like that's nearly 500 grand worth of equipment sitting there, and you don't want to pay me over 100 bucks. It's just crazy how it works. So yes, definitely some stuff I've encountered. Yeah, but yeah, combos do help you get more work, I have to admit, and then especially if you've got more attachments. Elton Mirror, what is your job and in what field do you do work? Our work is import and export of all goods. Well, I'm not in import and export, I can tell you that. I am in excavation works. So yeah, I do a whole range of stuff, anything to do with earthworks. So I could be working on civil jobs, could be doing landscaping, retaining walls. I could be digging for plumbers, concreters, doing site cuts, doing basements. I don't know, like a whole range of stuff. Sometimes I use the auger to drill for piers and stuff, or it depends. Yeah, we do everything. Site cleans, demolition, whatever I can do with machines. That's basically what we do. Take away material with trucks, earth moving, all that stuff. I have imported stuff though. I imported my hammer once. That was interesting because I could tell you a story about that. When I had my first 20-ton machine, hammers were like really expensive. Yeah, I'm talking for a 20-ton machine to get like a Indeco hammer. Just say it was like 30 grand or something. It was crazy, crazy money. I think it's still the same anyway. 30, 40 grand for a hammer. I couldn't justify it. So I went onto the website and found one in China, and I was like, I'm going to get one from them. It was like 13 grand. And I was like, I can get one from China for 13 grand. So I tried to import it myself, and it worked. I have to admit, I did get one here, but there was all these additional costs, all these shipping, freight forwarding, all these extra costs that I didn't account for. And not only that, then I had to go and pick it up from the port, and then they wanted all these documents that I didn't know I had to get. It was an interesting journey. But the hardest part was when I had to transfer all that money to China, I was absolutely crapping myself. I remember when I was doing the bank transfer, I'm like, I'm giving these guys 12 grand or whatever it was, 13 grand. But I don't even have any clue who they are. I've only dealt with them over the internet, and I'm about to give these guys 12 grand or 13 grand, and I don't even know if they're going to send me anything. That was an experience, I'll tell you what. I remember I was all sweating, I was all wet under my arms. Before I could press the button, I was telling my wife, do I do it? Do I do it? And she's like, just go for it, you'll be right. And I sent them the money, and then it worked. So yeah, I think that was the only import I really did, and it worked. But I don't know, it was a tough experience. Very, very hard to transfer that much money without knowing who they are. All right, so we're coming close to the end here. I'll answer a few more questions. Craig is saying, thanks, my customers book my 1.2 micro combo. Most of my work is tight access work, and I can upsell. Yeah, very true, man. The micro combos are good. When I had my little 1.7 tonner and the little 4-ton tipper, I was amazed how much work we got with that. And my 1.7 would fit, between houses, between the fence and the houses, especially nowadays. All the houses are getting small, and all the blocks, all the land is like 350 square meters nowadays is a big block. So yeah, to get your machine down there, you'd need like a 1.7, and they were handy. It's handy having little machines and doing tight access, and even though there might be a lot of guys doing it, there's still heaps of work for that. So no, good. Keep it up, Craig. I reckon the little combos are the best. So Elton is asking, what are most of the items and goods that are sent to your country? For example, in Iran, it is mostly auto parts and heavy machinery. Yeah, I would say, Elton, it's probably similar. I'm not an import-export expert, but I would say that, yeah, auto parts, heavy machinery, I think all that sort of stuff is very, very is very abundant. Like a lot of people are ordering that sort of stuff, especially on eBay and that. You see a lot of car parts and heavy machinery equipment. So there's actually a lot of Chinese machines coming in at the moment. So they're importing them themselves, but there's a lot of that stuff happening. Ooh. Haley Murphy's joined. Hello, Haley. How you going? So you've caught us right near the end. I'm just about to finish up. Well, 9 o'clock is our finish time, but we've got a couple of minutes. I've been answering all these questions for everyone. Thank you to Godings for also sponsoring, and hopefully you liked that video I put up this week of me and Adrian having a chat. And UDA Frank is saying, yeah, well, we don't make much in Australia anymore. It's very true. Our manufacturing has really, really declined, which I don't know if that was actually a mistake. I feel like maybe we made a big mistake getting rid of all our manufacturing. We probably should have kept some stuff. But yeah, we don't really manufacture anything anymore, so it's all imported. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a long time before they consider, even if they did consider manufacturing stuff in Australia again, which I think somebody announced not long ago, which is an issue that we had. Even if we did want to start manufacturing again, it'll take a while to start up. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting because we are very, very predominantly importing. Hmm. Well, I am nearly out of scotch. Well, I think I am out of scotch. So that means it's nearly 9 o'clock. Guys, I really appreciate you all coming on these Sunday night live sessions. I appreciate all the questions, and hopefully you're happy with all the answers I've been giving. Like, I'm not a professional, but I can give you the best answers I can based on my experiences and what I'm hearing around the traps, as they say. Um, I'm here every Sunday, 8 o'clock. I think it's Eastern Standard Time, but I'm here at 8 o'clock every Sunday on TikTok and Instagram. I post these up, so if you do miss an episode or you've joined us late and you want to go back and see something, go onto my YouTube and you'll be able to see it. Also on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Thank you very much. If you want to support Earthworks Hub, go to the merch store on our website. And if you want to list your business, list a tip site, list a job, or list an expo or an event coming up, go on to Earthworks Hub, list it on there. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks for joining me.